Good morning, family. I know that as you're looking at this, you can't see anything. My purpose for sending it in this way is because I wanted you to see something that was very detriment to our life. I wanted you to understand that many of us are living our lives in darkness. And the darkness that creeps around us prevents us from seeing reality and the things that God really truly has for our lives. But one of the things that I want you to understand in the scripture, it says, and I think it's James 2:26, it says that for the body to be without the spirit means that it's dead. And also faith without works is dead. And what that scripture means to us, it allows us to understand that if we can begin to stop thinking that the things that we've done has placed us in the positions that we're in, God can then begin to move in our lives and begin to change some things. So today what I want to do is I want to talk to you about living in darkness. And I want to try to talk to you about how to get out of that darkness. See, many of us live our lives on a daily basis thinking that this is the way life is. This is how things are always going to be in our life. And see, because of the darkness that dwells around us, the enemy has allowed us to believe that that's how life is supposed to be. That's how things are supposed to always be. I'll never have anything because I'm not worthy. I'll never move to a different position in my life because I'm not worthy. But see, that's the trick of the enemy. The enemy wants you to believe that you're not worthy. And because of when he gets you to that position where you believe that you're not worthy, you'll always stay in the same position. That itself gives the enemy joy, because now he's taken one of God's chosen people and he's placed them in a position where they feel like they're not even a part of him. Not only that, as I just said in the scripture, to be without the spirit equals death. So if we live our lives without God, if we live our lives separated from God, it equals death in our life. So to be with God equals life, meaning that we have to begin to walk in what it is that God has given us. Walk as if you believe that Jesus really died for you on the cross. This weekend I had an encounter with God that was so amazing. I had a situation where I went and I was feeding the homeless for Thanksgiving. Every year we feed the homeless. And while out there, I look up and I see all these people, and they're helping, they're pulling, they're getting tables, they're getting the food ready. And I see this one guy, for some reason I notice him. He looks a little different. I can't tell if he's homeless or if he's with us or if he's someone else. And it begins to happen. They ask us to go and mingle with the people. And we all leave and we mingle with the people. And then we come back. And then we're standing in line to get plates to take to the homeless people. There's over 1,000 homeless people at this point. And a gentleman comes to me in the crowd and he says, "Can I speak to you?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Because of the interaction that I saw you have with the homeless people, I wanted to know if you would be one of the people that would be willing to walk around and ask them if they wanted something to drink." He said, "Because you make them feel comfortable." And I said, "Sure." So I got out of the line, walked over, started grabbing the drinks. And as I was walking through, I was asking people, "Would you like to have some water? How you doing?" Speaking to them still. And I come across this table where I'm pouring drinks, and I look over and I ask the gentleman, "Can I get you some more of the drink?" And it's the same guy that was over helping us move stuff. He's one of the homeless. And for the first time, the scripture where it talks about Paul, where he's on his way to Italy and ends up shipwrecked in a little place called Melita. It says that as he's lying there, he looks over and he sees these people, these barbaric people. And what he does is he sees them pulling wood together to make fire for his people. And instead of lying there, he gets up and he goes over and begins to pull wood himself to help these people help him. In the midst of pulling wood, it says that a viper attaches itself to him. At that time, a viper was one of the most venomous snakes there were. Just a drop was all that it took, and you died. And what began to happen as this viper bit him, he shook it off, and the viper fell off his hand, and he kept pulling the wood as if nothing ever happened. When the people there began to see this, they were waiting, thinking that this man is going to fall to his death at any moment. Not only did they think that, because of the mindset that they had, they believed that the things that he had done, he must have done something bad for this bad thing to happen to him. And little did they know, Paul had done some horrible things. Paul was one of the men that held the coat as another man began to stone the first martyr, Stephen. Not only that, Paul was one that went out, persecuted Christians, killed Christians, did all type of horrible things. And the things that he fought against are the things that now he's fighting for. But what begins to happen that's so amazing in this text is it shows these people that just because he was guilty at that time doesn't mean he's guilty anymore. And what begins to happen is after he shook the snake off, he kept on moving around and he didn't die. And the people began to look at him and they began to wonder, how is it that this man is still alive? He must be a god. See, this whole passage of scripture, it was to teach the people that just because you had done something that was against God, because Jesus came and he paid the price, you're no longer guilty. So see, if Paul would have continued living his life in darkness, God would have never blessed him to do the things that he did. So I speak to you today. I speak urging you to begin to stop living your life in darkness. Begin to live your life in light. Stand with your chest bold. Walk with your head upright. Allow the enemy to understand that you're not guilty of the things that you've done. Stop talking about the past and the things that people have done against you. Stop talking about the places that you're not at yet. God will get you there in due time. So again today, my brothers and my sisters, keep in mind the scripture says that the things that the enemy meant for bad, God will use for good. Take those things that the enemy has placed in your life and try to turn them around and try to mix them and try to make you think that you're guilty. Take those things and begin to use them. Speak to your brother, speak to your sister, speak to someone about what it is that's gone on in your life. Allow them to see the glory that God has done. In spite of holding on to it, let it go. Use it to minister to others. Allow people to see how God pulled you out of your situation. Whether you believe it or not, he did. I know I've gone over my time. I just wanted you guys to know today we have to stop living in darkness and begin to live in light. I love you guys. Have a beautiful day.